Would you please welcome Travis Schlenk?
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It really is. It's so nice to get to know you a little better and the scope of your job, and this is super exciting. And I guess you might call it a transition season for the Hawks with the personnel changes, the changes at Phillips Arena. Give us an idea of the scope of what a general manager does.
That's an open-ended question. The main function that I serve is to lead the basketball operations department, compiling the roster, making decisions that we're going to do with the roster. That's the main job of it.
The roster. So really, it's like a personnel job as much as anything else. Does the buck pretty much stop with you when it comes to those kinds of decisions?
Yeah, the buck certainly stops with me, but as I've said in a lot of earlier interviews, I'm very collaborative. I take input from everyone. We work as a group. I'm not sitting in an office with the door closed making decisions, but certainly I'm the one with the buck stops with.
Okay, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
I grew up in western Kansas, a very rural part of the country, agriculture. Everyone was farmers for the most part. I went to a small liberal arts school in central Kansas, got my master's at Wichita State, moved to Florida, started an internship with Orlando Magic, and I lived in Florida for a few years. Actually spent a few months over at UGA as the director of basketball operations for the basketball team. And ended up out in Golden State for the last 13 years working for the Warriors, and now we're here in Atlanta.
And I'd say your time at Golden State was pretty high flying.
The last 3 years certainly were.
Yeah, that's for sure. Those are lofty heights. Let me ask you one of the last questions first. Can you imagine the Atlanta Hawks flying that high?
Oh, that's certainly the goal.
Yeah,
that's the goal. It's not easy to get there when you think about what the Warriors have accomplished the last 3 years. Other than the Jordan Bulls teams, there hasn't been a team out there that's won at the rate that they've won. But that's certainly the goal here.
And you were certainly there during the years where the Golden State Warriors were not winning championships.
I unfortunately was there when they weren't winning championships as well.
So talk a little bit about that process, the kind of process you'll be taking us through here with the Hawks to get to that point.
Yeah, when I first got to Golden State, I was assistant coach for the first 7 years I was there. And then the opportunity came to go to the front office. Don Nelson was the head coach. He came to me and said, I think you have a good eye for talent. You should look at this. In my personal life at that time, my wife and I had just had our first child. And historically in the NBA, there's more security on the front office than the coaching side when you look at all the turnover in the coaching ranks in the NBA. So I thought, this probably makes sense. Having a mortgage and a kid, you change your perspective a little bit.
Yeah.
So was very fortunate. Larry Riley was the general manager at the time, and it was just he and I in the front office. So I was able to learn a lot. I used to say I knew basketball, but I didn't know the business of basketball until I started working in the front office. So we started working to put that team together. We had to move some contracts, get rid of some guys, and we focused on character. You look at what the Warriors have now, and you talk about guys like Steph Curry. Very very high character guys, and that's what we're going to mimic here in Atlanta is high character guys, obviously talented players as well.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was wondering if there was a golden rule, that you follow along the way for those kinds of things. And it starts with character. How do you measure that?
We do a lot of background on guys, intel all the way back to high school, talking to their high school teachers, talking to their coaches, AU coaches, college coaches, and we really try to find out what kind of person they are. And then obviously, we spend time to them, interviewing them one-on-one, very important. But along with having high character guys, the personalities have to mesh as well. So we spend a lot of time, and that'll be one of my main focuses this year with the Hawks, is as I get to know these guys, seeing how they mesh in the locker room and how they work together.
There's no I in team, basically, is what you're saying right now at this point.
I'm not a very good speller, but no, I don't believe there is.
Well, the Hawks had an active summer. What were your goals heading into the draft and free agency, Travis?
Well, when we first got here, we took a look and said, you know what? We have the 5th oldest roster in the league. So one of the things we wanted to do was get younger, and we accomplished that. You know, as we said here today, we have the 14th youngest team in the league. So you know, we've made good strides there. You know, we have a couple guys above 30 in Urson and Marco. So you know, most of our guys are in their early 20s. So we feel good about that. The other thing that we wanted to really accomplish this summer was increase our flexibility. Talking about our fiscal flexibility when it comes to the cap. And we feel like we're able to do that. You know, we had $20 million worth of space this year. Next year we should have, you know, close to $30 million. In the following year, you know, we get to $40 million depending on deals we make. And what that allows us to do is, you look at the deal we did this year for Jamal Crawford, we're able to go out and take on contracts other teams are trying to dump to accumulate assets, like we got the first-round pick in that deal. So as we start to build our team through the draft with high-quality, high-character young players, obviously the more picks we have, the more swings of the bat we have at it. Hopefully, you know, we get them right.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody
Otherwise,
does.
I won't be sitting here very long, I suppose.
Well, all your fans certainly hope you get it right. And with 8 new players, what's the outlook for this season?
You know, obviously, as we just mentioned, we're a younger team.
Yep.
You know, we have guys that are going to be gaining experience. It's no secret that, you know, younger teams take some lumps. So what we're looking for in the season is just every day, every week, guys are improving. So where we start at the season to when we get to the end of the season, we can see improvement, not only individually, but obviously as a team.
And the philosophy of Coach Budenholzer working with younger guys like that, I mean, does he change up anything, or does he just do what he does?
No, one of the things that personally I'm very fortunate for is Coach Bud and his staff here. They have a really strong track record of developing young players. Young players have come here historically over the last few years and gotten better. So when you're taking the plan that we've taken, where we're going to build with young players through the draft, knowing that there's already an established player development program in place with solid coaches implementing that plan, it really is a comfort.
Travis, speaking of being younger and fun, a few of your players had strong summers. John Collins and DeAndre Bembry in particular turned heads at the NBA Summer League, I understand. What sort of expectations do you have for them entering the season?
You know, those two guys played very well this summer in Summer League, as you mentioned. You know, but now we're getting to the real season. You know, it's not Summer League. You know, they're going to go against vets. So we expect those guys to show up in camp, work their tail off, but you know, they're not going to be given anything. Things aren't handed to you in the NBA. You know, there's only 450 of these jobs, and every year there's a new class of 60 draftees coming in trying to get those jobs. So they're going to have to earn everything they get, but both those guys worked their tail off and did all summer.
You just gave me a metric I didn't know. There are 450 positions in the National Basketball Association.
Yes, sir. Each team has 15 players, 30 players. No, I'm not very good at math either.
I should have done the math. Well, another player who had a nice summer is Dennis Schroder, who started for the German national team during the recently concluded FIBA Eurobasket tournament. And he had an excellent playoff series against the Washington Wizards. How important is it that Dennis continues his growth for this team?
Yeah, Dennis had a bit of a breakout year last year as his first year as a starting point guard for the team. Just turned 24 years old. Was really good this summer in Eurobasket for the German national team. You know, I'm excited to get to know Dennis. He hasn't been around a lot this summer since I've been here because his obligation was the German national team. But from everyone that I've spoken with, he's really grown as a person. You know, you talk about coming over as a teenage kid to another country, learning the culture. You know, those are all things that, you know, he's had to deal with. So I'm excited to get to know him and to continue to see his growth on the court as well as off the court.
Let me ask you one of those questions that I don't know the answer to. Training camp. Where will training camp be this year?
Yeah, so we're going to open up camp next week. Monday's media day, and our first practice will be next Tuesday. We're going to have it over at UGA in Athens, in their practice facility over there on campus. They've had it, or the Hawks have had it there the last 3 or 4 years, so it's kind of a routine tradition for us.
Mm-hmm. And what are you looking forward to? What are you excited to see at camp?
Just to get out there, like you mentioned earlier, you know, we have 8 new guys. Just to see the guys get out there, see how they interact. As I said earlier, you know, a big part of my job is meshing not only the on-court talents, but the personalities in the locker room to see how all the players interact. Chemistry, to me, is really important in this league. When you stop and think about how much time these players spend together, they're really with each other more than with their families. And so if you've got a couple guys that, cause problems or other guys don't want to be around, it can really just be deflating.
Well, in especially the kind of not just camaraderie, but the machine. I mean, these guys have to perform together. What's the philosophy in dealing with someone who might be turning toxic?
Hopefully we don't have that situation. We haven't had it in the past in Golden State. And that goes back into all the research we do when we add guys to the roster.
Interviewing, yeah.
Yeah, that's a big part of why we spend so much time on the background stuff. I don't anticipate that being a problem, but if it were, we'd have to sit down and deal with them.
Yes, you deal with it. You don't ignore it.
You can't ignore it.
Okay. We're talking to General Manager Travis Schlenk with the Atlanta Hawks, his first season here in the WSB Live Lounge. I'm Scott Slade, in case you're just joining us. Now, one of the transition pieces that we talked about at the top of this interview, Travis, is your home base, Phillips Arena, under construction since June when you arrived. And we understand the transition will be completed in time for the 2018-2019 season. How important is creating that home court advantage for the players and creating an even better experience for the fans? Start with the players.
Yeah, listen, whenever you're a performer, and that's what these guys are, performers, you want to feel like you're getting the crowd into the game, the crowd supporting you. So having a solid fan base there into the game is obviously extremely important from the player perspective. So there's going to be some nights, where we get in late and they're tired, or maybe that's just not 100%, but you see people that come out to support you and cheer you on, and it gives you that little burst of adrenaline that you need. So there's definitely something to the home court advantage. As far as having a place for the fans to come and feel special, that's obviously extremely important to the Hawks organization as well. With our new ownership group, what they've done in a short amount of time with the arena redevelopment, with the downtown redevelopment, with the new practice facility that they've built, they are really focused on making Atlanta a top-tier franchise in the NBA and something that everyone in Atlanta can be proud of.
So you'll be working around, obviously, construction, which they'll curtail for the season. It's going to be a two-part process, more or less, is it not?
Yeah, so the arena's been closed. They closed it down right around the end of June. And, I've been hearing the jackhammers every day. They want me to wear a hard hat, but I tell them I've got a hard head, so I don't need one. But they've been working, and I think, when people see, this year is the first phase, but you'll notice a difference. But next year, when we come back in October and you see what they've done the second time around, I think the public's going to be really amazed.
Now, part of that transition, if I'm not mistaken, just looking at the schedule, the first 5 regular season games are on the road. That's kind of a challenge, isn't it?
Well, you got to play 41 every year.
Okay.
Is it ideal to start with 5 on the road? Probably not. But anytime you have a major construction problem going, as most of you know, if you've had construction done on your home, or there can be delays. So it's better safe than sorry when it comes to that aspect.
Then the home opener against Denver on October 27th. Anything special planned for that night other than, hey, let's get it going, guys? It'll be fun to be home.
Oh, organizationally, every team does something special for the home opener. So I'm sure that that's not my department, but I'm sure that we'll have something special planned for the fans.
You're getting the guys on the floor, right?
We do our best.
Okay.
There.
With all the construction that you've been living in, how excited are you to move into the new Bembry Sports Medicine Complex? Is this right? In just a couple of weeks? And how does that help your organization?
Oh, yeah. So the new practice facility that I mentioned earlier that we have with Bembry is going to be fantastic. Right now we're in the arena. There's no natural light down there. It's kind of a bunker. The lighting's not great, but we're getting into a new practice facility. We go from having 1 full court to practice on to 2 full courts, which will be fantastic. Natural light windows, which I'm really excited about. But no, it's going to be state of the art and something that the organization did really top notch.
Talk a little bit about how that winds up being something really special for the players to have a sports medicine complex like that. And tell me if I'm wrong, that can actually be a selling point to get guys to join your team because they might be able to extend their careers with that kind of high quality care.
Yeah, one of the big features that we have that most teams don't have is Emory's orthopedic group is actually going to be in the same building. So if a player were to get hurt or need to see the doctor, instead of having to get in the car and drive to the hospital, they can walk 100 feet and be in the doctor's office. So that's going to be a huge plus for us. And then when the facility's done, just the finishes on it, everything about it, it's top notch. Like when you walk into the building, you're just going to feel good, and it's going to be a positive environment for the players.
Outstanding. Do we make provisions for anyone in the audience to ask questions today? Were we going to do that? I hate to ask off camera like that, but you can tell this is a live performance, right? I'm asking a question I don't know the answer to. Do anyone here have a question before I ask my wrap-up questions of Travis? Well, I've got a couple of more. You don't be shy if you've got one. This is you got the general manager of the Atlanta Hawks right here. Okay. Well, let me ask a couple of maybe a quick personal question or two because people need to get to know you a little bit better. Do you mind talking about your family a little bit?
Not at all.
Tell us about.
Yeah, my wife and I have 3 children, 10, 7, and 4-year-old. We also have an 8-week puppy, which is a pain in my bottom right now.
Whoa! How often do you have to go outside?
If you drive by in the middle of the night, you may or may not see me in the front yard in my underwear.
What kind of puppy is it?
It is a golden doodle.
All right. Oh, listen to that. Oh.
It's cute, but it's not potty trained, folks.
Yeah, 8 weeks old. Yeah, and your kids, once again, the ages were?
10, 7, and 4. 2 girls and a little boy.
That's quite a range. And getting them settled over the summer, school has started back for them already?
Yeah, my kids got cheated coming from California. We had a family vacation scheduled the 1st of August, but we had to cancel that. The move was enough for them, but school starts here a little earlier than it does in California, so they lost a few weeks of summer vacation. But
and you settled into your new home already?
Yeah, we're in. There's still a few boxes, but we're settled. We couldn't be happier. The city of Atlanta, not knowing that much about it, it's just the sense of community, the sense of family, the things that there are for the kids to do. We're in a great neighborhood with several other young families, so it's been a very good transition for my family.
And I want to ask your address, obviously, because that wouldn't be smart.
Oh, it's on the internet.
It is. Yeah, it's on there. Right, but if I'm seeing where you live, you're probably around some old trees where you are. How did you fare through the storm last week?
There are a lot of beautiful old established trees in my neighborhood, and we did lose our power for 3.5 days, which led to a call to the generator company for me. So I'm here to say
a lot of people do that.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Okay, let's ask a wrap-up question or two. I don't want to leave anything on the table because I don't get this opportunity to talk to you very often, and you're going to get very busy here pretty soon. What's your message to Hawks fans about the upcoming season? Here's the elevator speech.
The message, short and clear, is we're going younger. We're going to be fun. We're going to be competitive every night, and what we're looking for is, like we talked about earlier, not only individually players getting better, but the team from the start to the finish, just to see that improvement from game to game, week to week, month to month.
And one of the ways a community can buy into a team, especially a young team, is to get to know the players better. Are there any plans to do that to help maybe display the personality of these great guys and what they're doing in the community, that sort of thing?
Yeah, no, we have a great community department here with the Hawks, and we do have a lot of high character young guys that want to go out there, that want to be involved in the community. So I expect that you'll see lots of events where our guys are out there.
And finally, we can all learn from Travis Schlenk's personal philosophy and how he goes about his job.
I don't know what we're going to learn from that, but is that a question or a statement?
It's a question. Yeah, it is. What's your personal philosophy? You walk in every day going, okay, let's keep this straight. This is what I need to remember.
I think in general, my philosophy is never be scared to do a task. I started in this business, as an intern at the ground level, whether it was going to lace up shoes or to go put the towels in the laundry. I think people can't be afraid to consider themselves above anything. So whatever the task may be, I'm not afraid to do it.
It's good to hear. Anything else? I don't want to leave anything on the table. Anything else we need to know while we have you here?
I don't think so. I'm pretty laid back. Try to be funny. I don't know if it works.
You got more laughs than I did. And I've been told I'm not funny. But it's great to have you in Atlanta. Good luck with this new young team. It's going to be fun to watch these great young men of character that you're bringing in. And best wishes to you and the Atlanta Hawks in the coming season. Travis Schlenk, ladies and gentlemen, General Manager of the Atlanta Hawks. Great to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.